What? What? Okay. I really didn't expect to hear that. Let's check this out. Find out.
The Sony Spider-Man universe is over? Is this real life? Amazingly, yes.
That's what I
At
was
least
saying.
for now. Kraven the Hunter, and we'll talk about some reviews for the movie in this video, but Kraven the Hunter is the last Sony Spider-Man universe movie, if you can believe that. And to top it all
That's what I'm
off,
saying.
Sony isn't just ending their Spider-Man universe for now, but they are actually going to focus more on the MCU. Now, that can be scary for some people, but it's actually a very, very good thing, which we'll break down in this video as we talk about this new report and what comes next for Spider-Man. And not just Spider-Man in the MCU, but the rights to all of the Spider-Man characters that Sony currently owns. This report is coming from The Wrap, and the headline reads, "As Kraven hunts for audience, Sony's Marvel Universe takes final bow for now." Analysis. So let's talk about why Sony all of a sudden
they might be
realized or come to terms with the fact that really not a lot of people care about what they're trying to do with their universe. And I think one very...
Well, that's absolutely true. To me, the first Kraven trailer looked great. I liked the first Venom movie. I kind of enjoyed Morbius, but I knew it wasn't going to be a hit. You know what I'm saying? What else? Madam Web, horrible. I don't even know why they put that out there. I'm like, you're the people that put out the first Venom and you put Madam Web out? Are you insane? Yeah, people just don't care. People just don't care. Go see Kraven today, give you a review. Hopefully it's good, you know?
Specific paragraph in this article sums it up pretty perfectly. It reads, "The apparent end of Sony's Marvel spin-off franchise represents one of Hollywood's most ambitious and costly attempts to build a shared cinematic universe without its central character." Speaking of Spider-Man, obviously. It continues. Yeah. While Spider-Man
doesn't make any sense
swings
anyway.
successfully through Disney...
I see what they were doing. I mean, they could have given everybody an origin story and then have them run into Spider-Man. But they didn't. Like, they went all the way through with the Venom without having him run into Spider-Man. This doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, in one of the movies, at least, something just should have been a confrontation. Looks like Kraven won't have him. Madam Web won't have him. You know, didn't have him. You know, it's like, what are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, think about if they did a Superman's Rogues Gallery or whatever. They say they did a Lex Luthor movie. 3 movies. And Superman didn't show up once. Yeah.
Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe thanks to a landmark shared deal struck in 2015 with Marvel Studios. Sony's solo efforts to mine Spidey's Rogues Gallery have proved to be a costly catastrophe. The studio has burned through more than $465 million in production costs, while audience interest plummeted with each release. And to top it all off, here's what a Sony insider told The Wrap. "The biggest issue with the Sony Spider-Man spin-offs seemed to be the lack of quality control. The movies just aren't good. Sometimes that lack of quality meets a movie no one asked for, which was the case with Madam Web. Yeah. And that is a no-win scenario. It may be time for Sony to start cultivating different IP to launch new franchises." In which, yes, they totally should, because this is not working for them. And within what we just read, there are a few lines that really describe everything. They attempted to do...
I'm actually ordering my Kraven tickets right now, because this reminded me.
A shared cinematic universe without its central character, Spider-Man. There's a lack of quality control, which leads to bad movies, and it also leads to movies that nobody asked for.
And even if he was in them, doesn't mean they would have been good. They could have still effed them all up, but still, I mean,
Madam Web, and Morbius. And honestly, even Craven. I don't think anybody would ask for these movies without Spider-Man in them. And that was obviously their biggest problem. But it looks like Sony finally realizes what the fans are truly feeling. As the article states, the steady erosion of box office returns from nearly 900 million to less than 500 million for the flagship Venom series alone painted a clear picture for Sony executives. Audiences are simply not having it. So as of right now, the SSU, the Sony Spider-Man universe, is done. And let us all just hope that they decide not to pick it up again. Craven did seemingly end their universe, and there are no post-credit scenes, no setting anything
Wonder through the jab in.
else up. It truly does look like they're done. However, they are shifting their focus to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, as they should. And again, some people might be worried about this because obviously Tom Holland's Spider-Man is in the MCU. Does this mean that they're going to affect Spider-Man in the MCU? A little bit, but the good news is ultimately Kevin Feige has ultimate say over everything. The other great part about this is
let's get the Amazing Spider-Man 3 in. Let's get the Spider-Man 4 in this joint. Come on now, let's, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4.
that Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal go
Then they team up again in another movie.
Great. And Amy Pascal really respects Kevin Feige. And Marvel Studios has shown them they can do Spider-Man. They know how to do it. And here's the great part. With the Spider-Man movies that we've already gotten, and just Spider-Man...
You know something I didn't notice about No Way Home? Was when they all, jumped out together and were, swinging, getting ready to swing into action all together. One of the Spider-Men caught both of them with two different webs and swung them along with him. I never noticed that, man. I noticed it like a couple of weeks ago looking at a clip, and I was like, yo, because, it's all crazy. You're trying to see all of them, swinging stuff with each other. I was like, oh, that's cool. There's some teamwork right there.
In the MCU in general, with Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, etc. Marvel Studios has creative rights. They control the creative direction for Spider-Man in the MCU. And even though I believe it's going to remain this way, I do think a new deal is coming. And I think this new deal is going to be very good. And I don't actually think that this deal is going to affect Spider-Man in the MCU, but instead what I think it's really going to affect is Spider-Man characters, because Sony owns the rights to a lot of Spider-Man characters, to the point to where they have stipulated that Marvel Studios can't use some of these Spider-Man villains in movies that aren't Spider-Man films, so they can't show up anywhere else in the MCU. I think that's about to change. If Sony truly has smartened up and they realize that fans just aren't having this and they don't know what the fans want, but Marvel Studios does, and they're going to shift their focus on things that are working, which right now is only Spider-Man in the MCU for them, then I think they're going to realize that this is the way to go. And they might license the rights to all of these other characters to Marvel Studios to be able to use at their own discretion. Meaning
that'd be nice.
Get some of these characters in the MCU without having them be required to be in a Spider-Man movie. However, at the same time, I do believe if Kevin Feige gets the rights to these characters, licensed rights, not full ownership rights by Marvel Studios, he'll know what to do. And he won't make a mistake.
Yeah, if I found out that they sold the rights back to Marvel, I'd be like... They would go with Spider-Man that's sitting on a gold mine. There's no way Sony, I think, will ever sell it back to Marvel. It would have to be a particular situation, a huge lull in finances or problems, or, you know what I mean? I don't see that happening.
Like Sony made, putting major Spider-Man villains in movies without Spider-Man. This really would just be a win-win for everybody. Sony wouldn't have to worry about actually making the films. They just put the characters in the films and they collect money. Marvel Studios now has freedom to use all the Spider-Man characters that they want. And according to this new report in this article, that's what Sony is actually going to focus on. One section reads, "The future is all about Spidey." For Sony, the future appears to lie in projects more directly connected to Spider-Man himself. They've developed what they want to develop for now, a top talent agent told The Wrap. It's really about the next.
You know, it's really stupid. I was thinking about this the other day. As much as his Spider-Man is loved for the most part, um, the whole MJ thing, like back when it was happening, of course, a lot of us, maybe even most of us, didn't realize it was being done for woke reasons. And then, as time is going on, it's like, we know why you did that. Oh yeah, and it's not even Mary Jane. It's what's her name? Mary what? Mary Agnes. Who gives a damn? Only some of y'all are gonna get that joke. Forgot Michelle. Anyway, it's stupid, really stupid. All for woke reasons. They should have had normal Mary Jane as usual, but Zendaya is all right. Like I put it this way, she neither brings anything nor really detracts from the movies. You know what I mean? Now, some might say she detracts. It's like if we had gotten a legitimate Mary Jane, maybe that would have made things better. Maybe. But I don't care about her character at all. I like Ned. I like him. So, but anyway.
Spider-Man film. According to a second Sony insider, the studio is now focusing its efforts on Holland's highly anticipated fourth Spider-Man film, the next installment in the acclaimed Spider-Verse animated film series with Beyond the Spider-Verse, and a Spider-Man noir television series featuring Nicolas Cage. Projects that lean
I thought they were doing a noir movie. I'm fine for both, but okay.
To, rather than away from, the web slinger's central appeal. And the article basically ends with the fact that Sony kind of realizes now that they attempted to build a universe around Spider-Man without him in it, which was inherently flawed from the beginning. And it 100% was. Just to be completely...
And it wouldn't have been bad if they did an origin story for each villain. It wouldn't have been bad. But,
blunt and brutal, it was a stupid idea to begin with. Venom being an exception because of how charming Tom Hardy was, and because
he was really good. It was really good. To me, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. They should have at least had a Spider-Man cameo if they're going to do it the sideways way that they did it, because this isn't the true origin of Venom. We all know that as fans. So it's like... never mind.
Of how much he cared. But
we
Madam
all know
Web, Morbius, and Kraven the Hunter, without Spider-Man, not too good. And in fact, most of the reactions for Kraven the Hunter haven't been that good. What's really interesting is they praise Aaron Taylor Johnson, in which, yes, I assumed he was going to be pretty dang good. And apparently there are some really good action scenes in the movie, but everything else, according to many different reviews, sucks. Chris Parker from 3C Film says Kraven the Hunter is fun when Johnson is in action causing bloody chaos, but everything else is a drag. Great cast held back by clunky, dull dialogue. Another instance of a villain turned hero. A story that lacks any intrigue. Rhino and Chameleon wasted. Overall, a disappointment. Another one from Junior Felix says, I really wanted to love Kraven the Hunter, but the awful first act, bad CGI, and even worse dialogue ruined it. The best things about the film are Aaron's performance and the bloody action sequences, but that wasn't enough. These characters deserved better. Then, Ken Murray says, saw Kraven the Hunter tonight.
Sony, you need to do better.
And why do CGI animals in 2024 look worse than the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park from 30 years ago?
Oh, come on now.
Over 30 years ago.
I hope
CGI
not.
blockbusters need to make changes because
an exaggeration.
They're looking more and more unrealistic. Leo Rydell says, so, Kraven the Hunter, a big old bucket of nah. While I like the action, it cut away from it so quick, one didn't get to enjoy it. Awful acting, terrible script, and a waste of Aaron Taylor Johnson, who I actually enjoyed in the role. Way too quick, not a great story, farewell. Yeah, basically just kind of seems like a typical Sony Spider-Man adjacent film. And it sounds like Kraven was actually the best part of this. Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kraven. But it sounds like, from all the reviews that I've read, they just don't give him enough time, which is crazy because he is the main star. And if they do give him some time in the movie that's not full of action, it's not very well because, let's face it, Sony doesn't know how to write scripts. The people that they've hired to do their Spider-Man stories haven't really done a good job. The stories are terrible most of the time, and it sounds like Kraven is no exception. But the good news is Sony finally realizes it's not working, and Craven is their kind of final performance, and they're going to take a bow after this, although they really shouldn't. They more along the line should kind of apologize to everybody, and they should just let Marvel now use the rights to all of the Spider-Man characters.
Apologize to everybody.
That is about to happen. And now their focus is shifted on making the next Spider-Man movie a great movie, but Marvel Studios is at the helm of that, so they shouldn't really have to worry too much about that. All they really need to do is just kind of stay out of the way. So let's hope that happens. But for now, it looks like the Sony Spider-Man universe is done. Hopefully now they can give the rights to these characters to Marvel, and the future for Spider-Man and the Spider-Man characters can be really bright. If we hear anything else about this, we will be sure to do an update.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Cosmic Wonder. Go over there and subscribe. Tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. So what do y'all think? Is this a good idea? This a bad idea? To me, it's a good idea for them to stop this because it's if you were including him at least in every single movie, whether it was a cameo or a bigger part, I think it could have been more of a success. However, we've seen what's happened, right? All right. 10 million subscribers. Woo!